Let's get into it. Let's go. This is episode 627, Soul Not For Sale podcast. We got Joe Rogan and Lex Friedman talking. Sad episode. You know, people have been talking a lot about, Joe Rogan. He had RFK Jr. on his podcast. And when we saw that, we were like, well, of course he's going to interview Tucker. He's going to interview Trump. He's going to interview everybody. But most of all, we wanted Trump because that's what we need right now. Patrick Bet-David was on the podcast with Joe Rogan. He gave a good 20 minutes of reasoning to Joe of why he should be interviewing Donald Trump. He let him know some really good facts, and he said something that I didn't quite agree with. Well, I kind of agreed with, but now I fully agree with it because he's 100% right. And that was the fact of, if you're not interviewing Trump, you are indirectly helping Joe Biden win the election. If he makes it to that point, that's still up in the air. And it's not just because it's Biden and we all know, he's getting older. It's not just that. It's what's going on with all the Hunter stuff and the I don't even know what you call it. We just call it corruption. I was going to call it collusion, but it's more like corruption, just straight up taking money from places you shouldn't be taking it. But we don't know if he's going to make it. But if he does, not interviewing Trump is actually indirectly helping him. Joe Rogan has something to say about that. We're going to get into that. But after Joe says his piece, I'm going to talk about why I disagree with him. And you guys know, I got him there. I love the guy. He had Jimi Hendrix behind him. I got Joe Rogan behind me. We stand on the shoulders of giants. He's one of those giants that I stand on, But definitely disagree with him on these points that he's making. I'm going to point out one glaring one that I think he's missing, and I think that Lex missed on pushing back on him with. Let's get into that. Before I do, I'm going to bring you to the store. This is IamCoachColin.com. So, this is the Public Enemy #1 shirt. Google the World Economic Forum, Google Agenda 2030, and you'll understand quickly why this gentleman is Public Enemy #1. Keep in mind, his right-hand man thinks that algorithms should have the ability to let you know where you are on the spectrum of your preference sexually. Yeah, they just have some odd things in store for us if they get full control, and they're trying to do it, and they're gaining footing. I can't lie. As much as I hate saying that, I can't lie. Check them out. And also we have the Certified Pureblood shirt. For those of you that survived the pandemic unscathed, untainted, get your certificate of achievement with this t-shirt, hoodie, tank top, men's and women's. And we have the bold statement, soul not for sale, the one that started it all. Make that bold statement. Let the powers that be know that your soul is not for sale, because with everything that you see happening with this leftist ideology, it is a attempt at your soul. It really is. Somebody once said, if you have too much tolerance, that means it takes away all of your boundaries, and if you have no boundaries whatsoever, anything can be taken from you and you can be led to do anything. And once you're in that position, you have sold your soul. You have no soul at that point. So make sure you don't do that. All of that's available at IamCoachColin.com. And if you want 10% off of anything you just saw, all you have to do is put in the discount code IamCoachColin. That's all capital letters. That's all one word. There's one L in the name Colin. Gets you 10% off on us. And if you've done that with us already, thank you so much. You are greatly appreciated. Let's get into this clip.
Trump era is also going to be one of the weirder times when people look back historically about the division in this country. He's such a polarizing figure that so many people felt like they could abandon their own ethics and morals and principles just to attack him and anybody who supports him, because he is an existential threat to democracy itself.
But don't you think it's not a cause, but maybe like a symptom? Like it's going to get, you said it got real weird. Maybe it's going to get weirder.
Yeah, I think it's going to get weirder. He's going to run again.
You
and
think
it's
he
going to
wins?
get weird. Well, he's running against a dead man. You know, I mean, Biden shakes hands with people that aren't even there when he gets off stage.
Yeah.
I think he's seeing ghosts.
Yeah.
You see him on Jimmy Kimmel the other day?
No.
Well, he was just rambling. I mean, if he was anyone else, if he was a Republican, if that was Donald Trump doing that, every fucking talk show would be screaming for him to be off the air. And by the way, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way, shape, or form. I've had the opportunity to have him on my show more than once. I've said no every time. I don't want to help him. I'm not interested in helping him.
The night is still young. We'll see.
If I have him on, the night is still young.
Yeah.
You think I'll have him on?
I think you'll have him on.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that? Because you'll have Putin on?
And you're competitive as fuck. No. I think ultimately, I mean, you've had a lot of people that I think you may otherwise be skeptical. Would I have a good conversation? Which I think is your metric. You don't care about politics, so can I have a good conversation? And I think you had like people like Kanye on, for example, and you had a great conversation with him. I think I think
but Kanye's an artist. But Kanye doing well or not doing well doesn't change the course of our country.
Yeah, but do you really bear the responsibility of the course of our country based on a conversation?
I think you can revitalize and rehabilitate someone's image in a way that is pretty shocking. Look at the way people look at Alex Jones now, because Alex Jones has been on my podcast a few times.
Yeah, which direction?
The people that have watched those podcasts think he's hilarious. And they think that he definitely fucked up with that whole Sandy Hook thing. But he's right more than he's wrong. And he's not an evil guy. He's just a guy who's had some psychotic breaks in his life. He's had some genuine mental health issues that he's addressed. He's had some serious bouts of alcoholism, some serious bouts of, substance abuse, and they've contributed to some very poor thinking. But if you know the guy, if you get to know him like I have, I've known him for more than 20 years. And if you know him on podcasts, you realize like he is genuinely trying to unearth some things that are genuinely disturbing for most people. Like, this is a guy that was telling me about Epstein's island fucking decade ago, at least. He was telling me about it. I was like, what? You're telling me there's a place where they bring elites to compromise them with underage girls and they film them? Really? Like, what? Cut the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It's like, no, President Clinton's been there. Everyone's been there. I'm like, what? It sounds like nonsense. And not only is it true, but people keep getting fucking murdered for it. Did you see that latest Clinton advisor that got murdered about it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hung with an extension cord, shot himself in the chest 30 miles from his house, and they're calling it a suicide.
And now even Elon Musk is asking, where's the clientele list?
Yeah.
We should probably see who's been to that island.
Yeah, we should probably see who's been to that island. And there's probably more of those kind of things out there that haven't been exposed.
Yeah, but sort of to push back, you had those conversations with Alex Jones. Wouldn't you be able to have the same kind of conversation with Donald Trump?
That's the problem.
No, it's not the problem. You revealed that Alex Jones is a human being.
Yeah.
He's fucked up. He has demons in his head. He's obviously chaotic all over the place, but there's some wisdom to the perspective he takes on the world. Even if though he is often full of shit, he is able to predict certain things that very few people are willing to bring up. So isn't Trump the same way? Fucked up person, egomaniac, whatever personality things you can talk about. Isn't it worthwhile to lay it out? Like, who's going to, if you listen to interviews of Trump, who has the balls to call him out on his bullshit?
Chris Wallace did.
No, calling out somebody on their bullshit is easy when you're just being adversarial. But as a person who is genuinely, empathetically trying to understand,
Yeah.
I think you're really good at that. Like, you pull them in.
I don't know if he would genuinely be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I think he would be putting on a performance. And that's
You don't think you can break through that in like 30 minutes?
I'd need more time than that. And he doesn't do any drugs. That's the thing about Alex.
Yeah,
You can get Alex high,
Yeah.
get him drunk, and he'll start talking about interdimensional child molesters.
Yeah.
And then you get the real Alex.
Or maybe you have somebody else on as well to introduce chaos, like Alex.
No.
They have to be one-on-one.
I would have to be just me and him. That would be a focused thing. I would have to like really take time with Trump. But also I'm not well versed enough politically to know all of the corruption that's been alleged and to understand what the whole Russiagate stuff, what's real, like how much of it's clear that there is more than one organization that's involved in communicating with Russia before the 2016 elections. It's pretty clear that the Clinton administration was involved. It's pretty clear that the Trump administration had some communication with some people in Russia. It's pretty clear that Hunter Biden had some very suspicious dealings in Ukraine. And there's a lot going on there, man. And it's hard for anybody to parse. It's really hard for anybody, and especially to have an objective assessment of exactly what's going on. And then to be able to do that and broadcast it publicly, that's quite a project. And I think if you really want to do that correctly, it's something that I would have to research for a long time and to really, and I don't have that kind of time.
Not for maybe for certain people that you're really curious about. Like you have that kind of time for Bob Lazar.
Yes.
But maybe not for Donald Trump.
I love that call out. You have that kind of time for Bob Lazar. Yes. And listen, I love me some Bob Lazar. I love hearing about a guy that worked on a thing, and I can kind of remember, and what I saw was a 4-hour podcast on that, but can't do a Trump podcast. That's sad to hear. The whole I don't want to help him, because that does indirectly help Joe Biden, whether you like it or not. Because sitting back saying I don't want to help him, listen, it's going to sound silly to some people, but if you don't want to help Trump, you don't want to help America. I'm just saying that's what it's kind of like. It's a little bit like that, because if Biden got into office again, what we're seeing right now would be nuts. It would be to the point where by the time he was done a second term, he would more than likely, just given the odds, pass away or just be incapable to finish his term. We'd have like a Mitch McConnell or like that other very old senator, the woman who's in a wheelchair right now, Feinstein. We'd have a situation like that. Terrible. And by the time it was done, I don't even know if the people would put up with another election. I don't even know if that would be on the table. Klaus Schwab has been mentioning, we'll get to a place by 2030 where maybe we won't need elections anymore. He actually said that. So I don't know what would happen. But he can't. It would be bad. It'd be very bad. But here's the thing that I disagree with when it comes to what Joe's saying. He's saying, he's such a polarizing figure. Oh, I can't have him. He's so polarizing. Oh, such a divide. But here's the thing. If he's so polarizing and people on the left hate him, people on the right absolutely love him. Some of them compare him to Jesus, right? If that's where we are right now, if you have him on the podcast, what happens on a podcast is somebody becomes humanized. He does a nice 2.5-hour podcast with Trump. No matter who you are, you're going to be able to see him as human. So that's a good step for both sides. A side that thinks he's like Jesus, you get to see that he's human. That's a good thing to have happen. And a side that thinks he's absolutely just the devil, they start seeing him as human. That's amazing. That's common ground on both sides. So right away, it's like the people who would not vote for him, at least they would be like, okay, I kind of get, listen, I don't like him at all, but I get the appeal. He's funny. He's a little funny, whatever. That part where they said XYZ, that was a little funny. When he told that story, okay, I get it. And then as a human would go, as being human goes, someone on the right would see and be like, you know what, there is one part he said I didn't agree with. I didn't like that he said this. I didn't like that he said that. He would become human. people would find common ground. He would become less polarizing. If he's less polarizing, that means the people have more of a chance of coming together. Not completely, because, you know, people on the far left, far right, that's going to be a hard sell for them to come together at all. But a lot of people who aren't far and far would all of a sudden be able to find common ground and start coming together on this gentleman. And then if he won, instead of for sure, because this is what everybody's thinking, he wins, there's going to be riots on either side. Like if he loses, it's going to be a problem. If he wins, it's going to be a problem, right? He wins, it's a problem for the left. They're going to go nuts. He loses, it's a problem for the right. They're going to go nuts. So make him more human. Make it more understandable on both sides of who this man is. And you've neutralized a serious issue that could arise come election time. So why not do that? I don't know. Just makes sense to me. Make him more human. If he's that polarizing and there's a side that completely doesn't think he's human and will treat him any way they want and talk about him any way they want and throw out their decency and compassion at the sight of him, make him human. You know? And also, you know, you do that type of thing, you'll bring families together. Like, let's be real. There are some families, not millions and millions, but there are some families where two brothers are no longer talking because of one's love for Donald Trump, you know, which is ridiculous. But you know what I mean? Again, like I said before, it sounds a little silly, but you'll be helping repair America. Now, I don't feel like other people feel. You know, I had one person in the comments, they're like, he should interview every presidential candidate at length. Man, I do this. I do podcasting. I produce podcasts. I produce podcasts for people. I have my own podcast. It's really difficult to do even a single episode of something that you're not truly interested in. So I don't expect him. If he has no interest in Vivek, come on. You know, like, you can't expect him to interview the guy. If he has no interest in Biden, you can't expect him to interview the guy. Next thing you know, he has to sit down with who? He has to sit down with Nikki Haley. He has to sit down with Chris Christie. Oh my God. Mike Pence. Oh God. Oh my gosh. I'm not watching those episodes. I don't care what anybody says. I love the guy. I'm not watching those episodes. Not at all. You know, so he has to be interested in whoever, but Trump just seems like the person that you would need to do that with. Biden too. If Biden was capable, I'd say interview Biden too. That'd be incredible. It'd be incredible to hear, you know, hey, you used to lie a lot. You plagiarized the Kennedy once. Can you tell me about that? Can you imagine? So your son, what was he like when he was younger? Hey, who left that little baggie in the White House? You know, there's some great questions to ask Biden, you know? And I'm sure if that guy loosens up and he can remember who he is, I'm sure he's a great time. Straight up. You crack open some ice cream, chocolate chip. He can tell you stories about his buddy Popcorn and all that good stuff. You know, that'd be great. Maybe he'll hike up his pant leg. And the little black children would touch my leg. They like the hair on my leg. Oh, man. But very sad to hear him say, I don't want to help Trump. Very, very, very sad for me, you know, just because it really, here's my thing. I'm not like this person who's like, Trump is the great white hope. I'm not like that, but it's clear that there is an entity that is working away on America like termites, and it's eroding democracy. It's slowly trying to erode the Constitution. It's trying to erode the patriotism inside of people. It's trying to erode away American values, family values, God values. Like, it's clear something like that's happening. And if there's anyone who could stand in front of that, Vivek is somebody who definitely could. RFK Jr. is definitely someone that could. But I know Trump won't flip. I'm not 100% about Vivek. I'm not 100. Like, I love Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I'm not 100%. I feel like there's some things he might be like, I don't know. I know Trump won't flip, and he'll go straight against whatever that entity is. Because you can say the deep state, the leftist ideology, whatever this is, it's working in overtime the past 4 years. And someone needs to neutralize it. And it seems like when Trump steps into the arena, whatever that entity is gets scared. And that's a good thing. So I would love to see Joe interview Trump and actually help him. And again, maybe not even help him, just humanize him a bit. Just so it's a little calmer in the case that he gets elected president. You know? I don't know. But again, you're a content creator. He's a podcaster. You can't tell him what to do. You can't expect him to just interview the people you want him to interview. It doesn't work like that. It's not a monkey dance type of show. You can't just do that with Joe Rogan. He has that thing that he calls FU money, which means that he has the ability to do what he wants, you know? So, and that's what I'm working towards right now. So I can't hate on him for that. He's inspired me to be that type of person as well and just pursue my interests. So I get it. Listen, if you haven't liked the episode, and tell me in the comments what you think about that, about the whole, I don't want to help Trump. Let me know what you think about that. Sad. I think it's sad. I don't like hearing him talk like that. I'm like, man, come on. Like, you know, Trump's a good deal, you know? Because if not, who are you voting? Like, who's he voting for? I guess RFK Jr. That'd be the only person I could think he'd vote for. Can't see him vote for Vivek at all. I don't see him voting for anyone outside of those three. Vivek, RFK Jr., Trump. Who else is he going to vote for? He votes for Biden. That's terrible. He's not doing that. He's not doing that. He can't do that. He cannot do that. I know he's just one vote and he won't tell anybody, but still. You don't do things like that. You know what I mean? You don't do things like that. Anyways, guys, if you haven't liked the video already, like the video. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. Hit that notification bell. It makes it way easier to keep up because here on this channel, we make 1 to 3 videos a day and it gets hard to keep up. Other than that, I am out.